Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today in the south corner of the map playing in purple, we've got Cow playing as the Byzantines, and in the north we've got Knock Knock playing in green. Also as the Byzantines, welcome everyone to Dry Arabia and what is going to be a Byzantine civil war. And I'm pretty excited for this one. The reason why is because we've seen a lot of changes for the Byzantines and the way they play. There's been a lot of flux. A lot of people were going for the Grand Winery. Now we've seen a transition into a Dark Age 3-play cistern into the Imperial Hippodrome, which is obviously a lot more aggressive. So I'm pretty excited to see how these guys play it out, especially on Dry Arabia, which is obviously a very bread and butter map for Age of Empires 4. And a very open map in many ways. Can be a couple of awkward spawns, but it's a pretty good spawn here for Cal, with the gold pretty close by as you kind of expect. I mean, the one thing it's got good for him is got the one back wood line. I'd say it's a bit of a nice situation for Knock Knock though. Two wood lines pretty close to each other at the back as well. The gold is a bit of an issue. A forward gold is never very nice. But I would say Calp doesn't exactly have the most protected gold either. Getting quite a few sheep nice and early here for Calp. Nice. Knock Knock. Where is his scout? That's the question. Heading across the middle of the map. He's got to be careful he doesn't run out of food underneath the town centre. He's going to bring them back home now. Alright, so what I'm interested to see is how both of these players play. Will they go for immediate aggression with the Imperial Hippodrome? Will they go for the Grand Winery, play the sort of mercenary approach? Maybe even a two-town centre. We can see the obvious play into the double system, triple system in the Dark Age. Just to let you guys know, below, if you play Byzantines, I do have a lot of build order guides for various civilizations. One for the Byzantines, in particular this particular build. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's very similar, obviously, because it's going to get the Dark Age cisterns, 3 cisterns, to start off the match, into the Imperial Hippodrome, into the Horsemen, to get the aggression. So I generally, as a player, love playing aggressively, and so that feeds quite nicely into my playstyle. It's going to be the Grand Winery, so we're going to see a definite different sort of play here. So Calp going for the early cisterns for the eco, and the Byzantines up in the north, Knock Knock going for the Grand Winery. Now you might be wondering, what's such a big deal about the cistern? Well, this is at the heart of the Byzantine economy. It gathers, increases the villager gather speed rather, 5% for the first cistern water level, 10% for the second one, and so on and so forth. Increases by 5% each time, and that really increases the villager gather rate quite significantly to boost up that economy and pump out units with. So definitely a difference of approach, and this is already exciting because you kind of need to think about how this is going to pan out. Obviously, Knock Knock's going to have to be defensive for a while. Maybe thinking about getting some static defenses. It's got 3 villages on stone, so maybe looking to get a second town centre, possibly. I mean, that's a bit precarious. We shall see if it decides to do that. Maybe it's just to get a quick aqueduct system and increase the water level as quick as he can. Could be either way. It's difficult to tell at this point. I mean, he's quite heavy on wood and is relying on stragglers, so it does make you think he's leaning towards the second town centre. And that immediately makes you think, well, we're going to have a cracking game, right? Because the Byzantines in the south, going for the Imperial Hippodrome, are going to be more aggressive. Maybe looking to punish any sort of eco boom in the north. Well, whilst we're waiting to find out, just want to say a very big thank you for everyone supporting the channel, both on YouTube and on Twitch. I am live streaming a lot more these days, so if you're watching on YouTube and think, oh, I do watch Twitch streams sometimes, maybe I'll catch Farmman on it. Make sure you drop a follow and I'll see you there. It does make it a lot more fun just chatting in between games and things, and obviously, if you're on Twitch and watch offline content, maybe think about the YouTube side of things. But there's that third cistern and connecting up with the aqueduct. Going to be getting 15% gather speed boosting on these villagers. Going to be making a nice, strong economy in the feudal age. The question is that, obviously, Calp, with the way he's decided to play this game and the opening, is that if the game goes super late, it does pose them a problem, right? Because the Byzantines with the Grand Winery are going to be strong in the late game, especially with the 60% buffering of the olive oil income coming in from the olive groves and the berries. The question is whether Knock Knock can survive to that point where that actually becomes particularly relevant. Cap, on the other hand, is going to want to try and make sure that does not happen. What's actually super interesting is we do think about super late games, and I just finished casting an English versus Order of the Dragon. It's super late game. Over an hour long that game was. And just thinking about the late game for the Byzantines, it can be incredibly strong with olive oil as the heart of their economy. If they're going to be pumping out a lot of units, they can get mercenaries. They can also get siege units for olive oil cost only. So it kind of in some way replaces the need that gold poses in the late Imperial Age game. Especially when you factor in trade brings in olive oil as well. I think the Byzantine late game can be incredibly strong. And it has been that case since the release of the Sultan's Ascent DLC, but I do enjoy the fact that the Imperial Hippodrome is starting to come to the fore a little bit. So the Byzantines can be a very flexible civilization. It didn't seem like that way in the start of things, but it feels like they're edging towards getting that flexible status. Interesting enough, not being aggressive just yet. Maybe doesn't want to give away. You just want to protect the gold for now, I guess, Calpi. Can I get that second town center on the berries and the wood? I like that positioning because, of course, he's going to be getting some units from the mercenaries, so gold is maybe less of an important situation, but it does mean that without the protection on the gold, it could be a bit tricky. We'll protect the wood line. The natural tendency is to protect the gold, so I'm pretty surprised by the decision, but we'll see if Knock Knock can make it worthwhile. Now, one of my most favorite texts for the Byzantines is from the Imperial Hippodrome. It's called Expilatores. Going to be increasing the horseman damage versus villagers by +2 and also getting the extra gold. So, as a raiding unit, the Byzantines have, I'd argue, one of the best in the games in this stage of the game, in the feudal age. Because if you can actually get villager kills, it's so strong. You get 20 gold per villager and it just kind of snowballs a little bit. The question is whether you can get some villager kills, right? Because he's starting to get the aqueduct system up. I will have to see a couple of outposts potentially. Because he must be aware that Kalp is on one town centre, right? Up to water level 4. And the reason why I enjoy this kind of playstyle is because that's 20%, by the way. Bound to be 25% if he gets water level 5. Just distracted by the wolves a little bit. Going to be getting that mercenary house. The question is, what contract will he go up with? We'll see if he clicks one. Got obviously 3 options available to him. Alright, so we're getting ready for a bit of a push here for Calpi. Does have a spearman out. Now he might actually take this fight. I think he probably will. There's not enough here. Just one spearman will be fine, especially if you micro it well. And villagers from stone do have to back away. And with only the water level at 2, Byzantine's economy, I would argue the economy for Calp is actually stronger at this point, by the way. Because he's got 20% extra for all of these villages that he has. And it's only a 3-4 villager lead that Knock Knock has at this moment. So we'll have to see. It's starting to get the palisade walls. This is kind of an inevitability, right? Knock Knock does need to make sure he's well protected, especially with the raids that are coming in. With this number of horsemen that you see as Knock Knock, you gotta be cautious. Because every villager you lose, it's not just you losing a villager, it's giving 20 gold to your opponent. Oh, villager trying to come out to war. Hello? Okay, well, just passing. Horseman going to dive on that berry bush. He should get a villager kill. And don't forget, he's got the triumph ability. It's so strong. I genuinely think the Imperial Hippodrome is an incredibly strong landmark in the feudal age. He gets 3 villagers. That's 60 gold, by the way. And don't forget, he's tanking so much fire. He doesn't even have iron undermesh. It takes another villager. 4 so far. Guys, there's 80 gold already coming in. These units are healing up with the triumph ability. If you're not aware about what the triumph ability is, it's an incredibly strong ability for the Byzantines. Increases the damage by 25%, movement speed by 10%, and also helps up with the regeneration of health. Yo, VFLL, or VF115. I can't quite read that, but thank you so much for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate that support. Very, 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 very kind of you. Thank you. And so these horsemen are going to back away. And he hasn't... I mean, look at the health on these guys. They're basically new. He's got 80 gold for free. Killed some villagers. With 2 villagers behind, with the water level at level 4. Calpi is ahead in economy. He's ahead in military. And Knock Knock, he's got to defend a little bit better to make sure your villagers survive. Because at this rate, not only is he going to be out-teched in terms of economy, be outdone in terms of military too. But he is starting to establish those defenses, right? So he's got the palisade walls up, which is great. A question from the chat is, where am I from? I'm from the UK. I don't know if the accent gives it away, but, hopefully it's noticeable. But yeah, I am from the UK. I was born and brought up here, and yeah, live here. But I do love the, speaking about that, by the way, I do love the multicultural community that we have for Age of Empires. I think I've seen a lot of people watching the content on YouTube from all sorts of places in the world. Like, it's quite incredible the diversity that we have. Obviously, a lot of players and people are watching from the US, but we have people watching from Germany, from India as well, which is kind of cool to see. A couple of horsemen going through the middle of the map. Now, the good thing for Knock Knock is the damage limitation should be okay. He's got quite a few spearmen, or limitanae, I should say. Or limitanae, I think is how it's pronounced. I don't know. I'm going to go with limitanae for now. And he's got the palisade walls up, so the damage that Calp will be able to have in sort of the mid to late feudal age is maybe a little bit limited. But what I would say is that feudal age is not going to last too long for him, because he's going to go up to the next stage with the Golden Horn Tower. That's going to give him 3 units. Don't forget, he's got water level 5, and don't forget Conscriptio. So the production speed of these buildings is 100% extra. He's going to get 3 mercenary units, getting javelin throwers. And really, the water level here, being water level 5, is such a clutch play for Calp, because the production speed on these units is going to be incredible. 11 seconds on a horseman. And he's going to get a monastery out for the relics. Now, with this second town set expansion for Knock Knock, he's certainly gearing up for the late game, but he's got to survive, right? And the trouble is now he's going to give up away a lot of map control, away for the Byzantines in the south. And Calp should get his hands on a lot of relics. Going to be looking to be a bit more aggressive here, Knock Knock. Going to dive in with a couple of Keshiks. Went up with the Eastern Mercenary Contract. Does have a couple of Limitane there. Going to be deploying their shields to give them extra resistance against the javelin throwers. And they do deploy, but look at that. The cavalry coming in with the triumph ability. Calp, he should be able to take a decent trade, but the Limitane there for the Byzantines in green, dishing out all sorts of damage. Villagers do have to retreat. Keshiks getting a couple of villagers on the retreat. And the javelin throwers are trying to do their best to whittle down the numbers of the Limitane. But he is being pushed back here, Calp. A nice bit of aggression there by Knock Knock. Does have the villager lead, but I would love to see him behind this to get that water level up. Currently at water level 3, which is nothing to be ashamed about. But comparatively, he needs that water level 5. Javelin throwers going to look to try and back away now. Keshiks almost got on top of them. He snipes out one of the Limitane. I mean, Knock Knock needs to get out of this. I think the numbers of javelin throws there for Calp is looking healthy. He does back away for now. But Calp gonna have to face up against more walls. Now, has the monastery been built? It's got double monastery, so it's really going heavy on the monks to get the relics, and for good reason. He's got a lot of map control with the unit numbers. Obviously, Knock Knock got a bit of a good push. Bit of a raid, got a couple of villagers. But it gets to the stage of the game where he's still in the feudal age, right? And it's going to take some time for him to get the castle age and really compete. For the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, the game will really be featuring and favouring Calp with the aggression. It's going to take a while for Knock Knock to get to that castle age to compete. And the big problem is that if it does get to the late game, Calp will have a lot of the relics. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Nope, on that gold vein, couple of Keshiks riding, Wallalow coming off there. Calp might get a Keshik or two. No, the Keshiks do ride out, and the villagers, they will be relatively safe for now. The Keshiks, though, might dive on the monk. 1 relic is deposited. Got 2 more in his clutches somewhere on the map. The Keshiks do have to get out of there. It's a good thing that he had an outpost in that position. Heading back a little bit here, Calp. Trying to pick off another relic, but might ride into the Keshiks. Keshiks might spot that. No, they redirect and go elsewhere. Bit of a shame. Oh. Might cut off this monk. Oh, Keshiks. Will they spot him? They just miss him. They just miss him. Let's go through the stealth forest. He's hunting with the Keshiks, but didn't quite notice it. It didn't attack move, right? That's part of the problem. Obviously, if he did attack move, it would go for the walls, but equally possibly could have gone for the monk. And Calp looking to solidify his map control with a keep forward on that central sacred site. Going to pick off the relic in the middle of the map too. Keshik's riding around the back, but not all that much value being gained. Calp going to try and get some value. Going to hide out in the stealth forest for now, but there are palisade walls looking to defend for Knock Knock. He's going to get to the next stage with the Golden Horn Tower. Does have the water level 5. It's got a massive olive grove transition. Speaking of which, that transition is coming in for Count, but it's going to be a... Okay, he's going to hold on with the javelin throwers. If you think about it, these guys are all from the Great Horn, Golden Horn Tower. And the fact that he got up to the castle age so early, not only does it give him access to actually collect the relics, and also the attack up for the military units in terms of veterancy status, but he's getting free units all this time, right? It's actually really strong. I think this kind of early play into cisterns is going to be the play for the Byzantines. I feel like we're going to see a lot more aggression out of the Byzantines than we see turtling, which is an exciting thing for an Age of Empires forecaster. Knock Knock now does get to that castle age at the 16-minute mark, but he's going to be pushed a little bit. Horsemen going to try and make their way through. Does pick off a villager. Has to back away for now. Quite a few Limitane there for Knock Knock. Getting the sacred sites whilst he's at it. It's got all 5 relics here, Kalp. And sure, he's 20 villages behind, but does it really matter when you've been ahead on water level and you've got 5 relics to your name? And 2 sacred sites. The economy approach here for the Byzantines in the north is looking a bit dicey. I'm not so sure how viable it is, but maybe Knock Knock will prove me wrong. And I kind of hope he does. Adding in a couple of camel riders just to take care of those Keshiks. Guys, that's a lot of javelin throws. Holy moly. Is now transitioning into a second town center. It's actually kind of interesting to see this because we have seen this a lot with the Japanese as well. It does seem to be a bit of a feature between the Byzantines and the Japanese. Like, it's never too late to add in the second... Well, sometimes it is too late, but... like, in this kind of situation where he's grabbed all 5 relics, like, it's not the case that Knock Knock's economy will be totally running riot, although it is kind of getting that way. But the addition of the second town center for Kalp stabilizes things. At this stage of the game, Kalp has a decision to make, right? Does he try and go for an all-in push in the castle age? And it would have to be an all-in, because with the second town center for Knock Knock for such a long time, if he doesn't kill Knock Knock soon, Knock Knock's economy will just run riot and, you know, start to overwhelm. The other option that Kalp has, and he's taking advantage of, is getting a second town center himself to just kind of stem the flow of that villager lead increasing by Knock Knock. And so whilst the villager lead already is there, it's not going to get bigger. And then it allows Kalp to stabilize and maybe think about getting some damage just to equalize that eco difference in the meantime. Going to be getting border settlements to get the extra vision. Doesn't quite manage to get it in the end, and the vision comes out for Kalp because he spots it. It's going to snipe a villager or 2 and get an extra 20 gold again. Going to get a good wraparound on these villagers. Uses the triumph ability, and that's a lot of villagers going down and the additional gold coming in for Kalp. Now we'll need to ride away because that's a lot of units. In fact, he's going to go straight into the base and maybe look to get some more raiding advantage. And I like that play, right? Because he does need to do damage. And he's going to do it on that wood line. And these horsemen do last for a long time. And he's going to lose them. Might get trapped, but Limitane don't get in position. He manages to escape out of that little pressure point. Goes right to the back of the base. And don't forget the sacred site timer has been activated. 9 minutes on that clock. Might be looking to attack that gold. And more villagers might be going down here for Knock Knock. Despite the palisade walls, wasn't fully walled up. He left a gap between the gold vein and being made to pay the price for it. Oh, villagers going to look to fight this, but, you know, this is not ideal for Knock Knock by any means. Sure, Kalp will lose his army, but he's focusing on the villagers to get as much value as he possibly can. Oh, take a look at that, though. Akratoy coming out. A nice bit of use of that ability. Equipping the villagers with weapons, increasing their attack from 8 or 6 to 10, I think. Yeah, it's up at 10 now. Gives them a bit of extra armor as well, and makes them a little bit more resistant to raiding. I'd love to see that bonus. Now, that keeper's in the middle of the map. It does mean that Knock Knock has to go for one of the other sacred sites on the edges of the map. Doesn't really have the capability to get siege ready at this point. It does mean that Knock Knock is facing up against a Byzantine in the south that is getting a lot of relic gold. Getting a lot of sacred site gold. And we talked about it, right? Getting that second town center stemmed that little increase of villager count that Knock Knock was getting comparatively. And now it meant that, well, the Kalp's damage that he's done is just all that more effective. It's a great play here by Kalp. And looking to wall up as well. Holy smokes, he's really looking to carve up the map and looking to protect those sacred sites. But here we do see the Cairo Siphon being built. Now, this is the play by Knock Knock. Like, the trouble for Knock Knock, he's lost a lot of villagers, right? He's lost 24. but he's still sticking with that game plan. He's hoping that his economy is going to be able to fuel his fire in this mid-castle age timing. And under normal circumstances, not having lost all those villagers, this push could have been a lot stronger. We'll have to see whether this push that he has established, whether it will be strong enough. Has a couple of Keshiks just riding around to see what value they can get. Villagers being sent quite far forward. Doesn't have textiles, but I guess at this point it's kind of an all or nothing sort of thing. You can either get the walls or you don't. Try to wall up on the west. Those villagers are sniped, and that gives away the game plan. Knock Knock is aware. He's looking to push now with 2 Kyra Siphon, looking to burn his way through. We'll be looking to decap that sacred site on the west side. And he probably should get it. I mean, I'm not so sure actually. I think Kalp's army, okay, he doesn't have the numbers as much as Knock Knock does. But with the couple of cataphracts sprinkled in there, with the triumph ability, he might just charge in through the Limitana, go for the crossbows on the back. Does have a couple of Varangian guards and javelin throws as well with the ranged damage coming out. I think kiting this will be fine for Kalp. Doesn't have to engage melee versus melee just yet. It does engage though. Cataphracts might just use the trample ability. They do. They go for right to the back line and jump on top of those crossbows. This is a great fight for Kalp. He whittled down the numbers at the initial engagement with the javelin throws. Kyra Siphon going for the stone walls. But this is a great cleanup by Kalp. The javelin throw is getting so much damage. I think they're kind of overkilling the crossbows, which is not ideal. He does have a couple of Varangian guards himself though, Knock Knock. That should be okay. Keshik's riding on that wood line. Coming in from the south, this could be a really good flank by Knock Knock. If he collapses on the javelin throws. Oh, but quite a few Keshiks just going for that one Varangian guard. They don't know what to do with themselves. That was not ideal. Now, those Keshiks are going to turn the tide of this fight, I think. Kalp might have to back away for now. Javelin throws are pretty exposed. But of course, the triumph ability is looking so strong, and Knock Knock is trying with the crossbows to get as much damage as he can. But it looks like Kalp is pushing this back. Obviously has the defender's advantage, right? So the army coming out quickly has the Mangado as well. This is looking bad for Knock Knock. He definitely has to back away. And the sacred site timer is down at 5 minutes. Looking to wall up. This sacred site pretty well protected behind the stone walls. Got to keep it in the middle one. And pushing up the army on the west side for Knock Knock. He needs to look to try and get this sacred site, if he can, decapped. And the Kyra Siphon being pushed back, and that's a significant investment being lost here for the Byzantines in the north. Building up a large massive army though. They're slowly pushing out. Kalp is looking in a strong position. Still arguably behind in terms of military numbers and eco numbers. But if he does start taking into more cataphracts, these guys are very beefy by the way. 360 HP, 28 melee damage. Especially when you factor in the triumph ability and trample damage coming out of them. I think it's certainly a unit to be feared. Knock Knock, just going around the west side looking to decap that sacred site. I wonder if Kalp will react to that. It probably should. It's only 4 minutes until the decap. Or we're winning the game rather, the win condition. Keshik's going to try and go around the south. Just leaving one Keshik to decamp. Is he going to wall his army out of dealing with that? Quite possibly. He's getting a keep on this gold vein to protect it, so can kind of get a couple more keeps, maybe kind of Keshiks, trying to ride in and get some eco damage. How much he'll be able to achieve, I'm not so sure. He does decap that sacred site on the west side there. Kind of for free there, Kalp. I'm not so sure if that was intended. Either way, it's happened. Kalp heading back home just to deal with that Keshik raid. Oh, he might get a Mangonel. He does get the Mangonel in the end. I mean, he lost a lot of Keshiks to do so, but at least he got something for it. Mostly Varangian guards and crossbows for Knock Knock in the north. And, well, I guess Kalp forcing Knock Knock to knock on the walls. That's a lot of walls coming out for Kalp, I've got to say. On the west side, walling up as well. And that might probably, I mean, if it spots it, it will be stopped. Knock Knock trying to stop that wall coming up, and don't worry, I've got plenty more bad jokes on the way. Kalp getting another keep on that west sacred side, looking to protect this area now, but I don't think that keep goes up. It might be a doubt keep. I don't think the keep will go. Yeah, Knock Knock has to stop this, right? It's got to. Kalp's army not in position just yet. A little bit slow there, but he will get there now, and Looking to place the keep a bit more defensively. Mangonels deployed. This could be the big fight that determines the outcome of this game. Crossbows on the back line with a couple of Ringing Guards on the front. Using the berserking ability, but a decent number of javelin throwers in the back, focusing on the crossbows as much as they can. Cataphracts coming in as well to join the fight. I mean, the Mangonel's focusing on the front line, which is maybe not what's needed. The keep does get deleted. Not enough villages there in the end to build it up. Mangonel deploys on that front line once again. The trouble is for Knock Knock, if he loses that front line, which he is, that back line is very squishy. Crossbows have to back away. Javelin throw is going to macro them down. And Cataphract does lose his life. Ringing Guard is going to chase down as much as he can, but at this point, Knock Knock just needs to back away as much as he can. Try and micro and try and save as many crossbow numbers as possible. Knock Knock just surrendering a couple of Ringing Guards just to keep the crossbows alive. I don't think their family is going to be too happy about that, but sometimes battles like these are bigger than individuals, and well, Knock Knock, they're going to have to recover and reset. Getting a keep defensively. I wonder where the camp goes for that sacred site again. It's going to go for the keep first and then maybe activate. Certainly stone walls is on the order of menu here for the Byzantines in the south. Looking to really cover up the map. Oh, Mangonels do deploy. Ringing Guards take the most of that brunt, but this is a problem for Knock Knock. He doesn't have any anti-siege, doesn't have any spring walls. A huge Mangonel shot on that front line. A lot of crossbows, weakened numbers. Does get a couple of Ghulams, I think there are actually. Wait, are those Ringing Guards or Ghulams? I think it's a bit of both, because he did go for the Eastern mercenary contract. He does have to back away now. That's a large number here for Calp. He's pushing hard. 73 military versus 55, and Knock Knock's got to be careful here. Does have that keep to defend with. Good thing he got that up, but the Mangonels slowly itching forward. They are about to deploy on that front line. Oh, a lot of the units do go down. The Mangonels getting huge value for the Byzantines in the south. Might be starting to be overrun here, Knock Knock. Getting a couple of Keshiks does kill the villagers on the west, but they did their job, walled up a lot of the map on the west side. And Calp just holding back for now. Now, the back of this, that second town centre has really done a work here for Knock Knock throughout the whole game. A nice olive grove transition for sure. But Calp's economy, look at this. It's even better. Definitely a huge olive grove transition. And he's going to be pumping out mercenaries. The fact that he's got 5 relics as well, it really feels the Imperial Hippodrome really does pack out a punch. I would love to see more Cataphract though from Count, because it's such a strong unit, right? Especially with the economy he's got. 3,000 food in the bank, 500 gold. Using the Hippodrome's triumph ability with that unit is going to be strong. It's going to go with the Cairo Siphon, added in to burn his way through. This game might heat up very quickly. Quite literally. Going to be burning down the stone walls there. Sacred sites have been activated for the second time in the game, and Calp has a better chance of defending it this time, you feel, although Knock Knock is knocking at the door, knocking down the walls, maybe knocking his way through to the sacred sites to decap them. Has got to keep on each one though, so that's going to be a tough ask. Oh, okay, well, looks like Calp want to be burning his way through as well. It's up 2 Mangonels. Villagers have to retreat for now. Looks like Knock Knock's going to go for the Imperial Age with the Foreign Engineering Company, and so is Calp. Calp will get there first, and he will be able to spend that olive oil on siege engines. Does have the Mangonel emplacement on the defensive keep. He's got to be careful. He's going to lose a lot of units here, Calp, but he is almost at population cap, so he's probably content with doing this. Getting 2 Cairo Siphons to burn his way through, but in the meantime, more walls coming up, but only palisades there. He can only afford palisade walls here on the east side. Calp's got to be careful. He's pushing on the west, but he's being pushed on the east. Keep will go down eventually, but not without losses. Calp, this is a very expensive keep to take down, but he will take it down in the end. And Knock Knock's at full population capacity. Keep does go down though. Knock Knock deciding to go westwards and to protect. Doesn't get there in time. The keep does go down. Double palisade walls coming out. Looks like Calp really opting for that Sacred Site victory win condition. And who could blame him? He's got the static defenses in terms of walls. He's walling up even more behind this. Really creating that choke point. That's a really smart play here. It's going to be a really difficult position to push for Knock Knock. Might be a better place to go eastwards. Has already burnt down through the stone walls. Just palisade walls remain. Knock Knock gets to the Imperial Age himself. Placing it at the back here. Can give access to the Royal Cannon, the Hui Hui Pow, and also Nest of Bees for the Byzantines. Okay, well, looks like Knock Knock is going to be going eastwards this time, and I think this is a better shot, right? Villagers going to come out to try and take down the Cairo Siphon. And the villagers that are in line of the fire do get burned down. Does have a keep as well. Calp just doesn't want to get these Cairo Siphons involved. Sacrificing some villagers. I don't think he gets this. He's going to get it pretty low health, but I'm afraid doesn't. Those villagers didn't achieve their mission today. Both players at full population capacity. Going to be getting the elite contract for the mercenaries there. Knock Knock. And while he's going to burn through those palisade walls. Looking to maybe try and decap that sacred site. It does have a keep to get through with only one Cairo Siphon. It's going to be tricky. I definitely love the variance of play here by Calp. Going for the Imperial Hippodrome. And he has got a couple of elite cataphracts. They're very expensive, but I would love to see some more. Getting access to the gold on the west side. And obviously the gold veins is fully in control of Calp. Makes a big difference. He's going to try and torch this keep down, but at what cost? To be fair, there's no real emplacements in this. And so he will take the keep down pretty quickly. The trouble for Knock Knock is that he's got army on his tail. And it's quite a big army from purple. Or a bit of a cataphract and camel rider raid. That's going to be difficult to deal with, especially with a lot of the army heading forwards. There is a keep to defend, though. Takes down that keep. Cataphracts coming in from the west side. Crossbows, they need to get behind the Varangian Guards if they can. Varangian Guards trying to get in place. They do use the berserking ability. Mangonels deploy, though. Mangonels get a huge shot on the front line. Crossbows staying back away from the Mangonel. Rightly so. These archers are not getting involved. That's a bit of a miss there for that fight. Crossbows might be sniping a couple of the cataphracts, but that's a big loss there for Knock Knock. He's taking care of this bit of raid, but obviously having to commit a lot of units. I love that play by Calp. He's forcing the reinforcements there for Knock Knock to stay at home and to clear up the force in the front. Whilst he did lose the keep, he won't lose that sacred site. Not now, at least. Not yet. Does have a nest of bees added into the fight as well. Then, now, arguably, Knock Knock should be able to afford more in terms of mercenaries, but taking a bad trade there makes things difficult for him. The Mangonels and the Nest of Bees poses a unique problem for Knock Knock. Does have 3 Springles to take care of that, if the time comes, 4 in fact. But the issue is the Cataphracts might just ride in and use the trample and try and get into the back line. He doesn't just yet. He's heading forward. At population capacity, right, so he might as well fight. But he's a bit cautious. Just delay tactics really here, I suppose. We could see one big showdown, one big battle to decide this match potentially. Springald trying to get hold of the Mangonels. Nest of Bees do fire off. 3 of them for Knock Knock. Trying to drag in the army, right, to fight underneath the keep. Mangonels do deploy there for the Byzantines and Calp. And a couple more shots will be incredibly strong for him. Nest of Bees deploy. Mangonels too as well. And that's a heavy infantry army. That does go down for Knock Knock. But he's broken through that front line. And there's not much of a meat shield coming in for Calp. Does lose the siege. Calp is losing that siege and he might lose this fight. Sending in 2 Cairo Siphons, but I'm not sure how much value they will get. It's being pushed back now. And Calp has to reset, has to come up with another plan, and I think he's got a lot of resources in the bank that he has just spent, I think. So the unit numbers are still very high. They're just going to join the fight. And take a look at this. I love this play. Mostly it's Cataphracts. The premium unit, they might be riding in to take a big fight, and if they can jump on top of this, I mean, Knock Knock might be overextending. He does only have 4.5 minutes though. Does edge a little bit further. Wait a minute. Oh, this is so smart. Guys, he's going to get a flank. Calp, he's going to bait. He's going to push Knock Knock into the main fight in the middle. But Cataphracts coming in from the west. They're going to use the trample damage. They're going to snipe the siege. This is a huge fight, and Calp has planned this out to a T. Planned it perfectly, uses the triumph ability, heads right on top of that siege, and knock knock, he's going to lose his army, and with that, probably the game. A great play by Kaup, the positioning was impeccable. He takes out villagers on that wood line, uses the triumph ability as well to heal up those cataphracts, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen, Kaup. He was faced up with palisade walls, but he knocked on the door, and he broke his way through with a great play with those cataphracts. I hope you guys enjoyed this casted game, and if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.